Thank you for joining us. Gun Barrel, our coffee and bullshit number 25. Guest today is Brian Noonan, commander of the American Legion, right?
You know we're not on.
I thought you were on Instagram.
Yeah, but we're not on this one.
So we'll start over again. We'll do it twice, folks.
Yeah. So
Can't just let him sit there.
Hit it, Hal.
Enter, and then
You're not even on this one.
I'm trying. How do
You're
we
on
do it
Instagram.
again?
Go live. Go in the studio. Go in the app. Stream.
I'm there. Got to go into this part.
Where's Ferrari?
Go
when
to the
you need him?
studio. You're not even in the studio.
Uh,
One day we're going to do this.
We're gonna do this right one day. Where's live?
You're not even in the studio yet.
I'm already in studio.
Go there. Go down.
There we are.
There we go. Go down.
Oh, I can't see the
Enter
finger.
broadcast studio.
I will.
You're on the wrong
There.
side.
There you go.
I know. It's
Go live. Go live. Up here.
add to stream.
Yep. Go live.
Go live. Ugh.
Hey, what do you know? It's our normal technical difficulties in the beginning.
We actually started a minute early.
One day we're gonna have this done so awesome. You guys are gonna be impressed. So, hey everybody on Facebook, welcome to Gun Barrel or Coffee and Bullshit, number 25.
Brought to you by Gun Barrel Coffee.
We got Brian Noonan, commander of the American Legion Post in Geneva, joining us today.
Post 75.
Post 75. There we go.
Awesome.
So if you guys are veterans, you're like supporters, reach out, help you do whatever they can to support the Legion. They took a hit just like we did this past year, lost some of their big events that helped raise money to support the Legion and all the things they do. Brian, so just for people who don't know, maybe you can share more about the Legion and what some of the Legion does.
Well, yeah, sure. The American Legion Post has been around for, I want to say, about 100 years. Started right after World War I. Obviously, an organization that helps veterans coming back from the various wars and deployments overseas to have some type of sense of bonding together, some type of healing process, as well as some type of structure of working within the community and working with other veterans. I mean, there's a couple of different pillars to 3 different pillars to the American Legion Post as far as community outreach programs are concerned. You know, the community services, veterans help, to get them back up in, into society and working again, those kinds of activities, from as far as that's concerned. But what, our main focus is, regardless of what the American Legion is, or it says from a higher up, we're here to do one thing, and that's help veterans. And it's more of a veteran center than somebody who's a member of the American Legion. We certainly encourage the membership, but that's kind of where we're at. I mean, there's been for many years a little bit of a gap within the organizations between some of the younger guys and some of the older guys. And that's what I really am trying to bridge at the Geneva Post. And our attendance and membership's up. And we're getting a lot of younger guys that are really helping out in the Post, and that's a trajectory that's really good, from that standpoint. So here you go.
I think it's one of the big things. Just my own father and stuff. Came back. He was a Vietnam veteran. He wasn't enthusiastic about going and joining because in his mind, his idea of what the Legion was at the time was it's a bunch of 80-year-old guys sitting around miserable, bitching and complaining. It wasn't like he didn't realize what it was and what the help was. And I think a lot of the younger guys too kind of feel it's a bunch of older guys and don't get it. But I think that's not, from what I've seen from the meetings I've gone to and stuff you guys do, that's really not what it is anymore.
Right. That's what I have done. When I first got there at the Post, I've been a life member at the VFW for many years and was a member of the one in Naperville. My dad was a Marine, and as a kid, we used to enjoy going to the various functions that they had there. So when I got out of the Army several years ago, I joined that Post, was a life member. Then we've since moved to Geneva, and I just noticed that exact same sort of mindset in both organizations. A little bit more in the American Legion Post within Geneva, where there was some gaps between guys who were in various campaigns or fought in Vietnam, and they just, had to become welcomed into the Post as we're all veterans. And that's one thing that I'd like to say that we're kind of hopefully doing, is being able to get over that hurdle, to bridge that gap for sure, from that standpoint. So
that's awesome. What are some? I know you guys do a lot of charity stuff too, right?
Yeah. The number one charity work, I mean, when it comes out to the years, like some of our fundraisers that we have, obviously one of our bigger ones is Swedish Days. and that's where I think you guys will help participate in our beer tent there, where we're selling, and most of the proceeds are going back to the post to be able to run the post, and then also be able to take some of that money that we get from Swedish Days to be able to give back to veterans that are in need within the community. That's one of our key events. Another one we have traditionally, these are the turkey raffle. And that's something that we hold over at the American Legion Post, usually a week or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And we get everybody in there, and we're raffling off all kinds of good prizes. And again, it speaks to all the good people in Geneva donating prizes to the event to make it successful in that way. And that's another big money raiser for sure. One of the other things that we work on too is Gifts for Yanks. And Gifts for Yanks is another fundraising event that we have in November. And each one of my Pulse members, we go out on one day and we solicit donations. We usually go out in the area, Geneva area, for hospitalized veterans. And last year, I think we raised around $1,700.
Wow.
And gave those proceeds. That's an official American Legion, event that we participate in for hospitalized veterans. That's been around, I think, since World War II, if I'm not mistaken. Good cause. And the nice thing is, the guys who participate in it are some of the older guys in the American Legion. They just love going out there and doing that. And that was one of the key things that we do. We also was, I think I'd mentioned to you before, one of the sponsoring programs within the American Legion is Boys and Girls State. That program, it's a week long. That's sponsored by the American Legion, where individual who's a junior in high school gets an opportunity to go down to a state, I think it's their head of Eastern Illinois, and participate in working on a building and identifying what a government would look like, a city government, and how all that would go together. And it's like a really good learning experience for some of the high school kids. And that was one of our programs that we sponsor, Boys State, Girls State. Especially if a student's interested maybe going into politics or government. It's kind of a simulated government that you're able to participate in, is one of the programs that we work with. So those are a couple of them, of the ones from that standpoint.
So what is out there? Real quick, Ben String what's the difference between us and Black Rifle? I don't know about Black Rifle, but I can tell you our coffee is super smooth, no acid, no bitterness. Most importantly, we donate dollar for everything we sell to veteran and first responder charities locally. Coffee, like I said, super smooth.
So what's the difference between the Legion and the VFW?
Yeah, the Legion, I think right now, for as far as the American Legion is concerned, we're open to membership for all veterans, is how they've changed that. And the VFW, if I'm not mistaken, I'm also a member of the VFW, is more people who have deployed over to veterans of foreign wars or participated within some of those particular campaigns. And that's a good point that you bring up, because the VFW over in Batavia with Jay over there and me, we're good friends. And one thing that I like about the commonality is let's bridge the gaps between the VFW and the American Legions, because Geneva doesn't have a VFW, but there's certain events that we're already talking to maybe have both of us work together on.
Right.
Which is kind of would be a good thing, from that standpoint.
So what was your job? What did you do in the Army? Let's hear a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I was in 3 units. I was in the 101st. I was in 2nd Battalion, 502nd Infantry. I was an infantry platoon leader, scout platoon leader, and a company executive officer in the 101st. Then I was over with 3rd Special Forces Group in Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Mm-hmm. And then, believe it or not, I got to be on the United States Army Parachute Team, the Golden Knights. I was the executive officer over there for a while, which was a fantastic job. And it was kind of like the high point of my career, or probably anything I've ever done in life. You're with some of the best guys in the Army, with parachute demonstrations, public relations, competitive events that occur with the Golden Knights. Great organization.
So you got to travel all over the place?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
How many jumps have you made?
Well, actually, documented jumps, right about 4,700 free falls.
Wow.
Right in that area.
Really?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I started jumping in infantry officers basic course at Fort Benning, Georgia. My roommate at the time who came out of 1st Ranger Battalion, was going through officer infantry school, woke me up early in the morning, about 6 o'clock on a Saturday when it was the only day off. And he goes, "Guess what we're doing today?" And I'm like, "What?" "We're going to go skydive, and you're going with." So he took me out to Warm Springs, Georgia. You know, he's a great guy. A guy's name is Keith Hanley. And he started out there and did a static line out of a Cessna 180. I think it was, yeah, right?
Wow.
Yeah, Cessna. And
it's a little airplane to climb out of.
Yeah, I think it was like, yeah. You get out on the strut, hang out, looking, jump master gives you the go, and you static line out on a ram air parachute. I had been to jump school beforehand, and then I started.
You didn't just cold just make the jump one morning. You got up and like never.
No, you went through the training in the morning, and I think by about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, after all the training was done, you go up there and make your first static line jump. And ever since then, I was hooked on jumping. And then when I got to Fort Campbell, they were good enough to have a sport parachute club on post, and the sport parachute club was there Saturday and Sunday with Black Hawk support, and it was like a training event for sport parachute jumping for anybody who was in the active duty, the military, reservists were there, the pennants were there. So, it was jumping was quite a big thing. Even when I was at Fort Bragg, I jumped quite a bit at Rayford drop zone out there, who was owned by a guy by the name of Gene Paul. I don't know if he's still there or even with us, and. That's where the Golden Knights used to train out of his drop zone too. So it was all good.
Wow, that's awesome.
Don't worry, it's just Mike. He's. I can't give a shit because I don't have any.
Well, like 4,700 jumps, or is it like you're qualified to be an instructor, aren't you?
Yeah, I never instructed. I was a static line instructor. I was a parachute rigger. But I never actually, I helped out teach jump courses, but I never actually got my official AFF license or certificate. I was too busy jumping. It's like instructing's fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's like
jumps is a hell of a lot of jumps.
Yeah,
Mike, this is for you for sign language.
Yeah, my D license number.
Yeah. See, also people are scared to parachute.
D11629.
Brian's jumped almost 5,000 times and he's here. Mm-hmm. See, there's no danger at all.
But he was 6 foot when he started.
Yeah, but no, it was a big part of my life for a long, long time. But I haven't jumped in a long time, so.
So what rank did you make it up to then?
I got out as a captain.
As a captain?
Yep.
So how many years were you in total?
I was in about 8 years, right just shy of 8 years.
Did you get busted or anything?
No.
No? Only made it to a captain in 8?
Yeah, 8 years.
Huh.
Total time in service. 4 in the infantry, yeah, and then 8. Total 8 years. Well, this is like 7 years, 8 months, so somewhere in that time frame.
Was it harder to make rank once you got into the Golden Knights, or just?
No, it was at one point in time coming back. Rank wasn't a real issue. It was what I wanted to do, kind of next step. 8 years was kind of enough for me at that point in time. They were kind of winding down the military. I think Clinton was in office. And they gave me some voluntary separation, and I took the voluntary separation and went at that point in time. I kind of regretted it. I should have maybe stayed in the reserves or something like that. But, I met some really good people in the Army, that's for sure.
So you could have gone to the 20th Special Forces group or something?
Yeah, a reserve unit or something along those lines would have been fine. But I decided to kind of break the tie there.
So, well, what shot do we have? What can we do?
Bullet bourbon.
Nice.
Let's do a shot of that.
Do a shot of that.
Yeah.
Where did we get this from?
Oh, somebody.
Some of our nice
customers.
Customers brought it into us.
We have customers that bring us bourbon all the time, so we got to start.
It smells good.
That's nice.
Yeah. The nice thing is people start bringing us so much bourbon. We're well stocked now. I'll be sure.
There you go, my friend.
You guys out there should have a drink too.
Yeah, really. Huh? Toast. Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers, guys.
Whew. Nice, smooth.
No, not bad at all.
Still a little bit of fire in the back, but that's good. I think bourbon's more for sipping.
Yeah.
A little neat in a glass.
Well, now you said that, now people are going to start bringing us whiskey and vodka?
I like rum. Good, like Captain Morgan special stock. You want to drop some stuff off, or come have a drink with us. Yeah, a little rum.
So with now, with the Legion, it'd be I changed the command, but you're going to be up. Are you going to do another year as commander, or you think
it's whatever they want? The funny thing is, so the story goes. So I'm at a Legion meeting. I decided to get out there, help support the veterans, and be part of that organization. I joined the American Legion Post 75 in Geneva. Going to the meeting, there's probably about 7 or 8 of us there, right? And I'm like, well, where is everybody? Am I not here? No, it's good enough. And they're going to the meetings, and 2 or 3 months later, we got a couple of friends. I got Ferrari to join, a couple other guys. So right before a meeting, the post commander kind of calls us a meeting before the meeting, right? And we're all sitting around, and they look over at me, and they're going, "You got this, right?" And I'm like, I got what? Right? You got what? And it's like, you got the post. And I'm like, what do you mean I got the post? And it's like, I can't have the post. There's no mentoring program. I don't know what the door is. I'm just like, I've been to a couple of the parades. It's just like,
talk about jumping the deep end, huh?
Yeah, it's just like, well, if you don't take it, the post is going to go, you have to have a complete officer, the commander, the senior vice, junior. You got to have a complete list for the headquarters in order for it to be chapter. Yeah. Take the chapter away. So I'm like, okay. So I went ahead and did it and stepped up to the position. And it's a lot of work, that you're doing. You got to be able to, what's the word you want to say? Motivate a lot of people and keep them happily and gainfully, employed in a way of some type of good event that they can help out with. Yeah. And it's a kind of like Steve, one of the guys sent me an email. It's like, hey, I want to step up and take over, Boys and Girls State. I'm like, that's awesome, dude. Whatever you need, that I can help you with, let me know. I'll take care of that. That's an important product or practice of our post. And a lot of guys, especially younger guys, are stepping up. After I tried to recruit some new guys, I got a lot of guys at Joe Dorner's CrossFit school. A lot of guys are military guys over at CrossFit, and they came over. Josh came over there. Goy, he's another guy, younger guy, and Goy comes up to me yesterday in the gym. We're working at the CrossFit gym. He goes, "Hey, you know what, dude? I got a great idea." I'm like, "What? Should we like say this in silence somewhere?" He's like, "No. It's what I'm going to do." He goes, "I'm going to start making." The CrossFit, they have these boxes you jump up and down on, and they're like fit boxes. We use them all the time in CrossFit. I'm going to make about 10 or 15 of those things, and I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll sell them, out to people who want those things for a home gym. Well, that's a great idea, man. So, and then Josh steps up and made that bar.
Yeah.
That was awesome. At the turkey raffle, that was like the big winner. Everybody wanted this garage bar that Josh made.
And it rolled.
Yeah, and he actually threw it in his truck, and then I got, and then Sal stepping up and helping out, at the post,
I do latrine duty.
It's gonna be our sergeant at arms, because I think he just looks like a sergeant at arms, man. With that. So that's a good thing.
Might be somebody trying to look for coffee.
All right, keep talking.
So
yeah, so that's a good thing. So what I'm seeing, the trajectory at the post is we're getting a lot of younger guys, and a lot of younger guys that I'm trying to keep these guys gainfully employed with helping out their veterans and getting them involved with some of the projects. From that standpoint, it seems to be relatively working.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to the post or any Legion, check them out, especially if you're a veteran. Because anybody, you don't have to be a veteran of a foreign war to join the post, like it was, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
now you can any veteran can join the Legion.
Right.
That was signed in, like I said, 2 years ago.
Right.
And then, especially if you come down to Geneva, especially during Swedish days, we have a great beer tent.
And then, we can help, Corley get you involved with some of the programs to help out other veterans. Top of mind when you walk in there, it's what we have to offer you, but it's what you can offer us.
Right.
You know, if a guy walks in there and says, "Hey, man, how can I help out?" That's the guy. Okay, he gets it.
Yeah.
You know, or if he's like, "Well, what benefits can I get? You got a pool table?" We're kind of like, "Yeah, we do, but
we have a bar down there.
you got a complete bar, but you got
It hasn't been used in 20 years, so it's getting redone, but you know, it takes time and money.
Yeah, that's a point too. Within the facility there, we're trying to get some fundraising initiatives underway to get our bar up and running downstairs as another sort of a source of revenue coming in. So
yeah, well, you know, you get the bar going, and you get some sort of legalize something else.
Yeah.
You know, start making some money and start being more self-sufficient for the Legion, so we can do more stuff for veterans. And you know, like a roof ain't cheap.
yeah,
You know, it's going to cost the Legion $20,000 to get a roof fixed, or somewhere around that area. Unless there's somebody out there that's can do it half the price, we'll be more than willing.
yeah.
Donate materials. You have labor. I'm sure many of the members would donate to come help.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the good thing about our post. I'm glad to see. I think I've been running that play for about 3.5 years, 4 years, or something.
Did you know it was a lifetime appointment when you took the job? It was like everybody said, take one step forward, and everybody stepped back, and you were standing there. Wait.
It's like, guys, you got what are you got? Volunteer, right?
Wait a minute.
It's like, you got this, right?
Yeah, but you get the pension, and you get the security, and the free flight for the rest of your life, just like the president, right?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit trying, but you got guys who step up and help out, and they get it, and that's what makes being the commander, you know, a good thing, you know, from that standpoint, trying to revitalize some things.
If you haven't been to especially one of the turkey raffles, they're fun. Everybody has a really good time doing it. It's the first time you ever do it, especially me when I did it last year with the money.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that was back and forth, and people buying tickets.
I know. They love that.
It was just busy, but it was fun.
Yeah, and then remember did you were there for the 100-year reunion? Place was jammed. I couldn't believe it. I put it out on Facebook. Hey, it's a 100-year, you know, anniversary for the post. Anniversary, and that was the Marine Corps birthday, I think, when we had it not last year but the year before.
Yeah, that was a Thursday. I couldn't make it.
On that, and it was just place again packed. A good Marine who was Bernie at Kraft Urban catered it for us, and they had the Marines. They cut their birthday cake and did all their ceremony.
Did they have the young and the old?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the same traditional one, that was like the first time we'd had that in the post, and that I could remember. So
yeah,
that was real good, man.
I think from what I've seen, it looks like, you know, people in Geneva, the Tri-Cities area especially, are pretty great about supporting the
they
Legion.
are.
You know, whenever you guys have events, they come by, they're packed. The beer garden is absolutely insane zoo during Swedish Days, man. It's packed. It's still packed wall to wall in there the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just great. People come not just because of beer, but they come because they want to support the Legion.
Yeah, and you know they're always putting in, always very helpful in donations when they come in for the Swedish Days event as well. And then, you know, like you were saying before, you know, what events do you do? We're always leading the parade in Swedish Days. You know, from that standpoint, is one of the big things. Our Memorial Day service, that's really key and dear to my heart and to some of the guys who are there. We always have a guest speaker in the cemetery off of Stevens Street there. Usually the mayor and the staff is there, high school band. And obviously we're having a veteran as one of the keynote speakers there. That's, you know, real good event. You know, one year we had Joe Dorner from Cook CrossFit speak. He was an excellent speaker. So that was a couple of things that we get involved with there, the Memorial Day. And then obviously a lot of times when some of our members pass away, we're always at graveside doing the necessary gun salutes, as well as at the funeral home with the family as well, and some of the events that we participated in.
So they'll do the gun salute before if the
family asks.
If the family asks?
Yeah. Or one of us will come if they've already got something prearranged. Usually we'll have some type of one of our members go out and present a flag or be with the family because the guy was one of our members at our post. So we usually try to do something along those lines.
But what does the VA do? I mean, because I know when you pass away,
they've reduced the amount of people they send now.
Yeah.
Because like my dad's funeral, they sent one bugler, and then
one officer and one enlisted, and the dude needed a haircut.
Yeah.
It was out of regs. So it was either a reservist or maybe a National Guardsman.
Right. Yeah.
It used to be like a full color guard used to come, right? It used to be much bigger, because I remember other funerals veterans went to, it was probably like 10 to 15 guys who would show up.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on what the family requests. Sometimes you might even know the guy who had been a member of the post, so you're there at the wake, and if you're at graveside, whatever events that they want us to participate in, certainly would do it. For sure.
That was a tough day. It was like 30 below with the wind chill, right? I felt bad for the guys who had to stand there in uniform, like, it's freezing out here, but they did, and they did a nice job, so it was a good honor.
Yeah, Ben, I understand what you're saying here about seeing veterans, homeless veterans begging, but there is help for them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they can all reach out to the VA and find help. There's so many different organizations, especially in something in St. Louis or the St. Louis area that,
I think that's the hard thing, though, is you find.
But sometimes some veterans don't want to be helped.
Right. Well, it's not. Yeah, just like you see veterans who aren't homeless, sometimes have a hard time associating with other veterans. I think see that it's maybe they don't all feel like. I don't know. My dad's thing is he didn't want to reminisce.
Right.
He didn't want to go back through it again. He's like, I did it. I was done. I don't want to sit there and reminisce all day about it. It was what it was. But I think at the same time, as he got later in life, it's probably something he needed, because he had some more friends who were veterans, and they get together. They were both from the Vietnam, so that's what they talk about. So he had someone he could share, like,
right. You got to face the demons
right.
again.
When they came back, there was like, it's not right for them. It was shameful, right? Or people here hated him for it,
right?
So they didn't talk about it. And he weren't proud of it. He wasn't honored to it then. So it took him a long time to get to the point of talking about it.
Right, and you make a great point, because a lot of times if they did go into some of the American Legions or veteran VFW posts, they weren't exactly welcomed.
Yep.
And that was what I didn't know and really realize until about 3 years ago, I had a discussion with a Vietnam veteran. I'm like, dude, we're not like that here. You're welcome in this post, and we need you in this post. Yep. So,
right.
It's
World War II veterans telling the Vietnam or Korean veterans telling them that, hey, you guys aren't.
Yeah,
you guys lost the war or whatever, right. But
no individual one soldier makes a difference in whether you win or lose the war when you're dealing with.
But the cool thing is, when it really comes down to it, we'll all stick together. I mean, that's what I've seen. I know there's certainly instances and pockets where it doesn't, that rule doesn't apply, but
Well, I think just from my standpoint, not being a veteran, it seems like some more of the Gulf War veterans are starting to come about, being veterans now, and kind of getting to that age where they're.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Getting back to talking about it now. I think they're the guys who are out there starting to look for
right.
soldiers to hang out with, right?
Right.
Now it's okay to talk about it. I've gotten past it far enough that we start going over it.
Chris, I've heard that the requirements to join the Legion is loosened up. Yes, they have.
Can the parents of a veteran become a member? I know the sons and daughters of a veteran can. Can the parents?
That's a good question. I know that they've got the Sons of the Legion, and then they got the auxiliary organization. So
part of the auxiliary.
It would be all, so
sure. I mean, I know it's for veterans, but the parents might not be a bad idea. That's what you get a lot of support from.
Well, that's why within our post is what I'm doing is just creating like a patriot group of people who want to volunteer and help. And it doesn't matter whether you're a father was a veteran or not. It's if it's in your heart to help out a veteran of the organization, come on in. We can help you out, man.
I think that's great, because when we're out doing shows and stuff, a lot of people buy our coffee just because they see that we donate to veterans and first responders. Like, I'm not a veteran, but man, I'd love to support them. We need all the support we can get, so they come and buy our coffee just because of that fact. So there are a lot of people out there who want to support, who want to take a part if they can.
And then they find out the coffee is really good. And they keep buying.
But if they had an opportunity to come and be part of the Legion, I think that would be, they'd jump at the chance.
Right, and it's what I do is, what's your email? And it's what I do is I'm having a special email going out. I've got a list of about people who exactly that, Brian. So, boom, shoot them an email, say, hey, if you want to get involved, hit us up on Facebook, and then I'm going to try to cultivate that as a veterans, part of the veterans organization there.
I mean, right, just the more people that are involved, the more resources, right? You start finding people who are parts of companies or have other services that they can offer up to the veterans. How awesome, to have inroads to those things.
Ben here, one guy didn't have his ID and said the VA wouldn't see him. Well, that's kind of BS if you know that. Even if you just have your...
You just need your DD-214.
DD-214, you go to your local VOC, go see them. I mean, they could probably even do it at the VA with your driver's license and find out that if you served or didn't serve.
I don't know about the other VAs, but when going with my father to Hines, they bent over backwards to do everything they could to accommodate and help.
Nice.
I've heard some people didn't have great experiences there. I got to tell you, my father was in and out of a whole bunch of hospitals, and the treatment was the best at the VA. The nurses were the best. The doctors treated me and my family the best out of any. All the other hospitals, the surgeon or a doctor might come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to do this," and then you never see that guy again.
Right.
When we were at the VA, my dad was in for 8 hours. The head surgeon came out every 2 hours to talk to us. And he talked to us like we were people,
Right.
not like we were doctors. Said, "Hey," he's not the patient. He said, your dad Bill, here's where we're at with him. He's doing good. We did this so far. And he's like, "I'll come back in 2 hours and update you guys again." So like he came out of surgery, washed out, right? Went back in, watched him to go back into surgery like 4 times during the surgery. Like no other hospital did that. And then the nurses were phenomenal. Like they took as good a care of me and my mom while we were there as they did my dad and everybody else.
Nice.
You know, so like, sorry people had bad experience there, but all I've seen from that place
Right.
is bending over backwards to help every veteran they can, be super accommodating.
Right.
Ben, and also if you want to order the coffee, use GBC10. As you can probably see on the code going down on the scroller, save you 10%. Give you a little savings.
Yeah.
Danny, thank you, vets. Hey, thank you. Love the coffee. Thank you, Danny. I'm seeing it right? Because my eyes. I don't have my glasses.
Yeah. Sucks getting old, doesn't it? It was awesome.
It's like you're out at dinner with your wife or something, and you're looking at the menu and you're doing one of these.
The best restaurant we ever went to is as soon as we sat down, the waitress brought out a basket of cheaters and set it right in the middle of the table. Didn't say anything. Nobody had to ask. She just brought out the basket because they always used to be like, "Hey, can I borrow those? Hey, can I borrow those?" And you can't order, so everybody gets to pass the glasses around to see the menu. I thought that was the smartest thing ever. Bring the basket.
Or there's an app for that too.
Yeah. Well, usually what I do is like take my phone with the camera and I start magnifying to like see it. What I love now is that all the menus are online, so you automatically just like scroll. Cause
because Bernie has that where you just
you
QR
code now. Everyone,
boom, look at it.
The first time I told my wife, I'm like, "What is with the light in here? I can't even see this menu. The glare is so bad." She's like, "It's not the light or the glare." She's like, "Your eyes are getting bad." I'm like, "No." I'm like, mid-40s. That's not bad. I've had perfect vision my whole life. And then like you can't admit forever. And you're like doing the right. Went down.
Danny would love to have you guys as a sponsor on our podcast. Danny, talk to Brian. He was the man who you want to talk to.
Brian at Gun Barrel Coffee. Reach out to me.com. So St. Louis VA has treated me pretty good, even the same small center in Washington. That's awesome. So Ben says the VA St. Louis treated him pretty well. Virginia's pretty good. Like I said, I was blown away with how good the care was. Like when my dad first got in there, they came and told us that, "Hey, what are you doing? You're not getting your reimbursement for gas. Hey, what are you doing? You didn't put this on your claim. You didn't put this on your claims." When he was going through all that stuff. So like, I think most parents think like, "Oh, the VA gotta go fight them." No, you don't. Everybody at the VA will help you to get your benefits that you're owed and deserve from the government.
On some stuff.
Right. Yeah. But most of the stuff, there's a whole bunch of organizations, the DAV, there's always a local guy.
The VOC, right?
The VOC who will help you navigate that process. So if you're a veteran, if you have some issues overlasting, go claim that stuff now because you don't know what the effect will be 10, 15 years from now, what they will or will not cover 10, 15 years from now. You've earned it. I know some people feel bad about it. I'm a soldier. I'm not supposed to have that's a bunch of BS. You've earned what you've gotten. Go and get it. Take advantage of the benefits that were put there for you. They're there for a reason. It's not a sympathetic thing. It's you earned it. You made the sacrifice. You deserve these things. Go and take advantage of it. It saved my family tons of headache, trouble, and expense. You know, some of the lasting stuff that my dad went through, there was some serious consequences to it. It would have bankrupted my parents had they had to cover it all out of pocket. You know, heart bypasses are not cheap. You know, any other hospital, it's $1 million procedure, and the VA covers it.
So, when you were in the Gulf, were you there in the beginning?
Yeah, you got over the Gulf War. I was with third group, deployed out with them. You know, I was on the support side, so we did a lot of, anything that they needed, we would, position and push up to some of the team guys and stuff like that. So, we got over there. I was deployed out with third group at Fort Bragg, and spent my time over there. Fun, and then got back, and then after I got back from the Gulf War, I got on the Knights.
Which is still at home at Bragg.
Yeah, still at Bragg, right?
Still
Bragg,
yeah.
you know, so.
Which is right by the museum, if I remember correctly. Where the Knights headquarters is?
Yeah, I know they moved it, you know, I know at one point in time, so it might be, they may have put it over by the museum, you know, from that standpoint. But when I was there, we were over by the museum.
I've seen the Knights twice at air shows.
Yeah, they always come to Chicago.
They always do like awesome. I was in St. Louis when they came and jumped. That was an awesome display. They did the smoke and they did the target. Come down, land on target was pretty cool. Yeah.
Did they ever do the air show in DuPage?
You and I went to the very last one.
Yeah.
Which was that one was. God, that was the first time I got to see the actual B-2 bomber fly, and to see that thing, man.
Right.
You can't hear it. It flies right at you. You can barely see it, and then you don't hear it until it's right on top of you, and then it's gone. It's so fast.
Was the B2 or B1?
It was the B2.
They had the stealth.
Yeah.
They did have a bomber. I don't remember which bomber it was.
I thought that it was the B2 bomber, the stealth bomber.
Oh, I don't remember.
What was cool is they dug holes next to the runway.
Oh, yeah.
Filled the garbage bags up with diesel, or gas, and then so to simulate the bombing run, they came over and they just exploded those bags. It was unreal. The heat and the fire was like, that's one of the best air shows ever. I remember one year they were
fun.
They let an F-14, like something happened, the weather turned crap. A couple guys, one stunt team didn't come, and so like the F-14 was supposed to go for like 10 minutes. He ended up like 35, 40 minutes. Just had the sky all to himself. It was amazing to watch that airplane just rip across the sky, through the clouds, come back down. Just was awesome.
Nice.
All good stuff. You always have that. I think Golden Knights there, or was at least a parachute team there, which is always cool to watch. Those guys.
We had the B-17.
Yeah, we'd train in Yuma every year. We'd go out, I think, we'd get out in January, and we'd go out there and train for a month. Nothing but jumping every day, all day at Yuma. In Yuma, I don't know if they're still going there or not. But
did you do any oxygen jumps? You had to wear oxygen?
No, we didn't. Sometimes we'd do some big ways, with the whole team and everything, but we were never on oxygen from that standpoint or area. So,
high opening.
That was pretty fun. We're going out there, and then that would start the show season, and then I kind of, as the exec, kind of got to go in a lot of the shows that the team would ask me on. If they were short a guy, I'd fill in, and I know one time we went over to England, jumped with the Royal British Marines and the Red Devils.
Really?
Yeah, that was a good event.
That seems like one of the right jobs you can get in the military. It's like they seem like they treat, like if you're doing the show stuff, like they treat you pretty well. You stay pretty nice.
So we were doing a jump. We were over there. I think it was in July, and we were with the Red Devils, and we got a royal jump with the Royal British Marines, and then the Red Devils were on there. There's a couple other teams from the British military jumping with us too. And that night before, we went out and got sold. So it's raining, right? And we're getting ready to load up on in the C-130 and everything. And I'm like, gosh, I hope they cancel this jump, and everything like that. So no, we're getting on. So the nights are on, we're on, everybody's buttoned up, getting this thing up in the air, and it's still drizzling. It is still drizzling. Wow. The ceiling was probably maybe at 2,000 feet, right? Ooh. And then we're flying around and get up in there, and all of a sudden a hole comes out of the clouds, so we pop up to about 2,500 to 3,000 feet, right? Mm-hmm. And then each one of the respective teams, like the Red Devils would be out first, and then I think they had, some of the other Royal British Marines, and then us. Dude, we're at like $3,000. And these Brits are jumping off the tail end of that C-130, doing flips off it. And that's just like, what are they doing? We're kind of low here. I'm getting stable, looking around, and then dump it, man.
We're at 20 miles an hour. 3,000 feet is not a lot of distance.
Yeah, and so we're jumped into a polo match, that was for that. But I was, one of my more kind of memorable jumps with the Brits, and then, it was a good, fun time over there I think we were there for about 14 days.
Did you go anywhere else overseas with the Knights, or just that?
England was the one thing that I went to, but I went all over the place stateside with them, all over the place. So it was real fun that time. They'd have their own F-27 Fokker aircrafts. They had two of them at the time I was on. We had a Platus Porter. We had a King Air.
Nice.
which were great to jump out of.
Some nice planes for.
Yeah, and then they had the competition teams would jump out at Rayford. At the time, the Army had an 8-way competitive relative working team. They also had an accuracy team, style and accuracy team, and then they had the blue, the black and gold teams that were the respective demo teams. That were the guys who were popping smoke.
Nice.
And at Yuma, everybody's popping smoke. You had to learn how, track and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, that's a group of people who know their business in that. That's for sure.
I imagine.
So that was really fun.
Have you ever had to use your reserve?
One time.
One time.
On a civilian jump in Paris, or where was I? It was down in Florida on a civilian drop zone. And believe it or not, it was Easter morning. DeLand, Florida. I think it was DeLand. It was in DeLand we were skydiving because a group of us at Fort Bragg. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Hey, it's Easter weekend or whatever. Let's go down to skydive. We'll jump in the car and go to Florida and just go to skydive with the civilians. It's like, hey, you just kind of show up and skydive with them. That was Zephyr Hills. Actually, it was Zephyr Hills, Florida, where I had my malfunction. It was, I think we were jumping out of the old DC-3s.
Wow.
At the time, and those were fun to jump out of, this got out about 3,000 feet or so, dumped it around 2,500, and it just didn't look right. So it's, boom, cut it away and pull that reserve, so. And the funny thing is, not that you mention it, I'm sorry, just to tell you this last time, we're going to Yuma every year, and we used to use the C-141s. And what we would do is we'd get on Fort Bragg, and the whole Golden Knights teams would get on the the C-141s and fly out to Yuma, Arizona. And we'd do in-flight rigging, and then we'd drop the door about, the tail about 7,000 feet over Yuma, and we'd jump in, right? So I was, first trip out to Yuma and everything on there, all good, and stuff like that. And we're going to do a map of the Earth because the Air Force apparently gets points when they go down to the Earth and they're doing map of the Earth, and you're just getting shook up like an absolute milkshake. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. We're on there, and I'm like seeing green, and I'm usually pretty good. I mean, I usually don't. And I was sitting next to this guy. He was a real good guy. His name is Staff Sergeant Kevin Payton. And I'm sitting him down next to you like this, and he kind of elbows me. Hey, you all right? Look out the portal. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm fine. And then is what he does. This is no kidding. So he zips up his jacket, he opens it up, and he pulls out this piece of beef jerky that he goes, you want some? I'm just like,
oh my God.
I'm like, no, I don't want this beef jerky. I'll tell you what, that was the first time in any flight I ever was on in my life that I ever lost my cookies, there. But so we, after we did the map of the Earth, you jump up, and then we're out at about 7,000 feet or something. We tailgated back into Yuma, man, and that. But that was quite an experience,
Yeah, that would be the same thing with the chiefs that would fly the birds.
Yeah.
And they would just go in there and do the same thing, go flow, and like, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that too, because I was in the 101st, and we had the Blackhawks, right?
Yeah.
They're all real cool. Hey, we're, and it was good. So it's a great unit. So we're down in Puerto Rico on Rosie Roads, and we're doing, I can't remember, I apologize, what operation we were doing. But we're going to get picked up by some of the guys from the National Guard in Puerto Rico. And they come flying in Hueys, and we were chalked to jump on Hueys. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? And we get on the headset, talking to the pilot, and blah, 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 our points and everything. And he goes, sir, just sit down and buckle up. And I sat down, and I buckled up, and all the guys were in there, right? And we flew map of the Earth with Huey helicopters. Like, I'd never thought a Huey helicopter could ever be flown in my entire life, because I was looking out with the door open, and that skid, no kidding, goes right on that canopy treetop. And respect, chief. That's all I said, man, respect. When I got off, I was just like, and every one of those dudes are like former, Vietnam veterans that flew Hueys, and they were just kind of doing something on the weekend for fun, and they got a mission with the 101st, and instead of our Blackhawks, we were on these Hueys, and I'll tell you what, they could make that Huey do all kinds of cool things.
What was the biggest difference between the Hueys and the Blackhawk? Because I never got to get on a Huey, but Blackhawk, yes.
Well, the power is the one thing, and the capacity is much bigger.
The Blackhawks?
Yeah, the Blackhawks, much bigger aircraft. I've had a lot of the sport parachute clubs we used to jump out of a lot of them. I mean, we used to static line a lot of them. We had military static line out of Blackhawks too, but they could get up really high. They just had so much better of a power. Even the Chinooks too.
Oh,
the
the
amount of
Chinooks.
The Dipsty dumpster with dual palm trees. Yes.
Yeah.
One whoop Huey, two whoops Chinook. It's the infantry.
Understand that Huey from Vietnam for them was just like a big egg, an egg that basically barely moved. So those guys had to learn how to fly hard because they were just the massive targets there, right? They were targets everywhere and they were easy to shoot. But they're so damn big and slow. It's like, so those guys just learned how to take it to a whole new level so they could survive.
Yeah, they were tweaking out that performance on those aircraft on those, man. So
I imagine those guys learned how to push that bird to its limits.
Yeah. So that was a memorable event.
Were they stationed at Scott's Air Force Base, B-52s? I don't know back then. Where's Scott's? They're stationed in North Dakota.
Were they?
Right?
I don't remember where they came from at the time.
Now they are.
Because when that happened, that was like the first year that we as civilian people actually knew. They started actually talking about it and sharing, the airplane or seeing it. That you could see it in civilian times. Like that was still. It was still like a guarded secret before that came out.
That would be the B-1. The B-1 is the stealthy one. B-52 is that big, long...
The B-2.
Oh, the B-2, yes. Why you say... I thought you were saying B-52s.
No, I know what a B-52 is.
Well,
I fly airplanes. The B-2 is what it was.
Yes, the B-2s. I don't know where the B-2s are.
I don't remember where they were stationed, but I think he's right. I think Scott's maybe is where they came from.
And then Arizona?
Yeah, I think, I can't remember. I mean, back then it was so long ago, so who knows?
Yeah.
Nothing was cooler than seeing that plane come. And the best used to be the 3 days before the air show, because you see everybody flying in. And they'd start practicing, and both their houses are within 2 miles of the airport. So it's like Oshkosh is awesome. Oshkosh is dangerous though, because they let just average people fly in, because you can also fly your plane in to come watch the show.
So
usually what happens is Oshkosh gets so busy that you get some amateur people flying in.
Oh, Scott's is in Illinois?
There's usually an accident or two every year. Oshkosh got to be really bad for a couple of years. So
the Knights used to jump in there. I think they had that air show. They used to do Chicago quite a bit.
And Oshkosh is not a great big controlled airport. It's an uncontrolled airport where you're on Unicom frequencies and any idiot can cut across traffic anytime they want. And you got a bunch of high-speed airplanes running around.
Illinois? No, I don't think Scott. No, Scott's is in Illinois. It's the Air Force down south.
Where?
Near St. Louis. I flew out of Scott Air Force Base one time, going over to Hawaii.
Really?
Oh,
that's a shitty flight from St. Louis to
Hawaii. No, we hopped from Illinois in snow, and then we went to California.
Oh,
and then from Travis, California, went into Hickam over to Hawaii.
It's a long flight though, because you're 6-7 hours to Hawaii from California.
And we flew over in Hawaii in a C-130 with jump seats, man.
Well, I was gonna say, man, that was like there was no cushion, there was no service.
The jump seat, man.
Just loud as shit the whole time.
Yeah, you had earplugs.
Yeah.
And then you got your lunch. The Air Force would give you your chicken lunch. Man.
Oh man.
Was it bagged at least?
Yeah, it was bagged.
The first time I ever flew solo, I couldn't afford the nice fancy headset yet, so I just did my 152 by myself for 2.5 hours. The drone of that propeller, just like the C-130, right, is forward. So just the drone puts you to sleep when you have nothing to look at. You're just looking at gray. And it was like, I caught myself a couple times just like, oh shit, where am I? Like, I have no instruments. I'm just flying VFR, just doing the flight rules. And man, I had a hard time staying awake because it's so loud, it just overwhelms you. Like that's what I imagine. Like
open up that window and stick your head out.
The C-130's gotta be so loud. You're just in a tin can. They don't do any interior. It's just plain. At least like the Cessna has like some insulation between you and the outside world. Most of the C-130s probably don't. Just a tin can with some shitty jump seats in there and just echo chamber of loud.
Well, that was the same thing on Blackhawks. And once you start getting there, you're like, all right, do it. And you're just like this, and you fall. I would fall asleep in a Blackhawk. Just learn how to fall asleep anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. There you go. So yeah, you can sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
From that standpoint. But,
well, now I couldn't. I mean, I could sleep. I could still sleep anywhere, but I couldn't do it tactically. Snoring would give me.
Yeah, so you're snoring alone. Snoring alone. You're like, listen, there's like a whole army over there. We can hear them. It's a whole army. It'd just be you.
Especially being like light weapons infantry, you just kind of sleep anywhere.
Yeah. Well, there's one customer. He is a Vietnam veteran. And he was Lurch D in Vietnam. And, you know, he would tell us, you know, yeah, you know, those guys that came out of the helicopters, those light packs? No, that's not us. We had the heavy packs, and we're out there for weeks on end, and, you know, we were out there. I'm like, well, that's what Lerp Z does, you know? Like, oof. But he's always good to come in with a story or two, and good guy. I should ask him if he joins.
We should get Dennis here. Dennis Eneke.
Dennis who?
Dennis Eneke at the
Oh,
Post. Good Marine. Yeah, he's fought at Quezon, so he'll be a
Oh,
good
did he?
guy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Those guys found like the worst conditions ever. Like
Marine.
cold sucks, but man, once 130 during the day and it drops to 70 at night, you're just wet the whole effing time. I mean, my dad would say that his uniform would just rot away, just because you'd be soaking wet. Then it'd be 130 the next day, so you're hot, you're wet, dry, and the uniform would just rot away from you.
Well,
You know, those guys. And he wasn't in the jungle. Those guys, other guys, were entrenched in the jungle out there in the worst conditions, muddy, wet, rainy. Like, you know, when it just rains for 20 days in a row, miserable. And it goes the temperature.
Well, it wasn't
50
any.
degrees.
Yeah, it wasn't any fun in the sand.
I
either.
can't imagine, right? The sand
Right,
miserable too. It's like,
Sand fleas, sand, all kind of different.
did
Did you have to deal with any Gulf War syndromes?
Personally,
Well, I don't know.
no. I just
do you want to just reveal your personal medical record for our whole audience?
you know, from that standpoint.
There's a pill for it.
This one sand flea bit me in a test right here.
Other than sitting, you know, you getting that black smoke when you're popping the, you know, those oil refineries that they had burned. Man, we were sitting in that for days. Or I shouldn't say days, a couple of days.
Couple days.
You know, in black, you know, and going through that. So.
How sick did you get of sand?
Huh.
Everything is always sand everywhere.
I mean, you know what? You know, you take your duffel bag, man. To this day, I don't care.
There's some sand
There's always
in there. Some
something
sand in your house somewhere.
man.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know,
I hate the beach. Why? I lived on it for months.
just shaking this off. Oh, there's some sand. There's a.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the beach.
This is imported from the Middle East. The sand. It's everywhere. This house.
Well, we had the one guy who tried mailing sand back home.
Nice.
And, of course, it didn't get
Customs
very
stopped
far.
there?
Well, the MPs did come and talk to him. Because you can't mail sand.
Why?
Because there's...
You're stealing part of their land.
It could be.
You're stealing our land. Now, everybody just mail home an envelope. Pretty soon there'll be no country here.
Bacteria?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Bacteria
right,
for...
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It wouldn't survive.
And then you know, you're trying to get stuff snuck into the country, like alcohol. And, you know, I don't know how it was with alcohol for you guys back then, but for us, we had to sneak it or make it ourselves. And sneaking it in wasn't too bad with scope bottles.
That was like 8th grade.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah.
So 8th grade trip to Washington is like shampoo bottles and scope bottles full of alcohol. And trip to Washington. Yep, I was boiling shampoo bottles 2 days before I went to Washington.
I would at least done scope, not shampoo, because there's always going to be that taste of...
But you couldn't bring a big bottle of scope. That was too suspicious, and you could see.
You buy the
it wasn't
little
green.
bottles.
It wasn't green.
Well, you guess why you got the food coloring, right?
That's what we just did. Shampoo bottles. I had 2 shampoo bottles. Fully went down to the parents' liquor cabinet, poured a mixture of bullshit in there because they couldn't, drain all the bottles. And then basically
Pour a little water in there.
Yeah, nobody could drink it because it was too strong for everybody in 8th grade and couldn't deal with it. But everybody felt they were drunk after 2 sips. Oh my god, I'm drunk. So
And then ordering pizza in D.C. Remember that?
when you were over there, were a lot of websites blocked on your phones and stuff, and any internet access you had? Because I know
We didn't have no...
You didn't have internet access?
No.
Your phone worked. Your cell phone worked.
It was 2003, so what cell phones...
I called you on your cell phone when you.
Yeah,
were
but I had the old
the old flip phone.
the
Nokia.
The Nokia. Yeah, the Nokia. The Nokia, I don't know, 2600.
Operator 555-1212.
Well, these are the first generations of the cell phone, like
I'm
this
sorry.
box.
I forget how old you are. I would send you telegraphs when you were in the Middle
Yes.
East.
And I would use my middle finger to send the Morse code back to you. No, we guys had computers, and we were still looking at 7-inch screens that you had to put the CDs into to watch movies. I mean, we didn't have TVs.
How was it that?
Yeah, you still had T3 texting that you had to do if you had to text.
Wow.
And once you got 20 miles into Iraq, there was no more signal for mobile phone.
Really?
Yeah,
I figured
20 miles in, you couldn't
I
get
figured our
one.
military would have its own basically cellular.
This is the
satellite
beginning.
connection.
Everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you were in Nasiriyah or one of the other places you could use a satellite phone from MWR. That you can sign up.
$999 a minute.
Well,
Mom,
it's provided by the
Mom, I'm
military.
okay, bye. Mom, I'm still alive, bye. Come later.
And then you had to figure out the time change to call home.
I was like, what, 16 hours is it there? Where were you? I'm trying to remember. We had to figure it out one time.
Yeah, I couldn't, because I had to do the same thing in Korea, because Korea was a day ahead.
I remember, yeah,
because it'd be Tuesday, but I'd be calling my parents on a Monday.
I think it was like 16 hours. But I remember because I like tried to calm him. I'm like, so this is like when he's done for the day. This is like right before dinner. This is like it's 8 o'clock my time of night, but it's like 3 o'clock his time. The next day is like.
If it was 8 o'clock, I'd have to. If I had to call home, I'd be up 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning to make a call, either at 8 or 9 o'clock at night here.
God, I just can't.
I can't remember if it was ahead or behind.
No. I remember I used to like. I remember I used to have to like time it. I'm like, so I mark it like, all right, call him at this time, so that makes.
And that's
sense.
if I had the phone on, because how the hell did we charge our phones back then? I mean, we had a generator, we had plugs, we had a freezer. We bought a freezer. We should have made a still, but our command. If I remember correctly, the commander wouldn't let us.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
the chief would have let us build one.
I mean, depends how high up you are, because you're going to create an international issue when you guys.
Well,
we find alcohol there. Now you're.
There was plenty of alcohol there.
There was no doubt. Like, I mean, I remember one guy got in trouble because he had like someone sent him a little picture, like a little naked picture, checking like, oh my god, that was a huge issue. Like, oh, I can't believe you would do this and disgrace the country with this. They had to make an example out of that one person, right?
You would stop on a convoy, and then you have all these Hajis coming out and asking, buy this, buy that, sell this, and they would even have alcohol on them from Jordan.
Really?
So yeah, you have to make sure it's closed up and looks good, and the bottle you still see.
Right. You try it first.
You try it first.
See if it's decent.
I would never really trust it, but some of the other guys I'd know that would do that.
Just like plain ether or ethanol with food coloring in it, right?
Well, one time the bottle was open and there's stuff floating in there, and I'm like, there's a creek right there. This looks brown. There's stuff floating in it. You bought it for $10. You're gonna have to throw this out. Just throw it. Yeah. He asked me. I had to order him to throw it out. I said, okay, I'll do that and order you to throw it out. Magana, you know who you are. But
so that was a good bottle. That's what he's saying. That was some of our best stuff. It's my family stuff. You insulted.
Well, because we would do it once a week where we all get together on a Sunday, because everybody's pretty much off, no convoys, and Sunday night, and we all have a couple drinks.
Oh, I know if you guys are potlucking it.
Pretty much.
The 10 bottles we bought, and let's just mix it all together. And the nasty stew.
Break out the fire extinguishers and cool down the stuff if we had to,
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Turn them in.
Idea.
Yeah, it got hot.
Just until there's a fire, and then all the fire extinguishers are completely empty.
There wasn't much to burn down.
This sand is on fire.
What's going to happen to the sand?
The sand is on fire.
The tent caught on fire. Oh, well. We have ventilated tents.
You need $1 million bomb to take out a $10 tent.
All right, well, as you can see, we're getting close to our time.
That went quick.
Thank
you, Brian,
thank you
for joining us here today. Thank you guys all out there for joining us again.
We got
Patriot Popcorn, patriotpopcornco.com. I never remember that.
We got Core Spice.
Ooh, get some of these spices. They're amazing. You can't overspice your food.
Yeah.
You will get addicted. You'll make dishes just.
And you can't overspice coffee. Right. It's really good.
What do you got? Double Dog?
No, Battleship. Ooh. That's a double dark.
So double dark and dark roast espresso. Both awesome. Don't forget GBC10 at www.gunbarrelcoffee.com. Get your orders in. Get 10% off.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you guys all.
And don't forget about joining the Legion or the.
Or just reach out if you want to support.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
So thank you guys again for joining us. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you guys again next weekend. You got it? Yeah. Just sure you ended this one? Okay, I just want to make sure it's ended.
Ended.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Thank you, man, for joining.